Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first session of day 2. This is the Land as Our Language, Culture, and Ways of Learning presentation by Dr. Pamela Toulouse. So Dr. Pamela Toulouse is a proud Anishinaabe from Sagamok First Nation. She's an author, researcher, and developer of over 55 resources in Indigenous education, such as books, chapters, articles, curriculum, and webinars. She has 28 years of experience across the education continuum from K to 12 to post-secondary to administration. Dr. Pam is the recipient of the Ontario Undergraduate Student Alliance Teaching Excellence Award in 2021, Inspiring Indigenous Women of Northeastern Ontario Award 2019, 3M National Teaching Excellence Fellow Award 2015, Laurentian University Full-Time Faculty Teaching Excellence Award 2014, and the Laurentian University Professional Schools Teaching Excellence Award 2013. So Dr. Toulouse, take it away.
All right there. So me, Gwetch, Angela, for that amazing introduction. And what I would like to say is watch everybody on this beautiful day. Oh, my friends, you're probably sitting in your offices, sitting at home, and you're thinking, I just get to chillax for this keynote. My friends, you're going to be working along with me, my friends. So I'm going to start off in a good way and let you know who I am, right? So, Wasa Ekawabit Quen Adijnakas Segmuk Nishnabek Donjaba Genoje Dodem. So, what I just said, like in my language, which is, again, this is what this entire conference is about those connections to land. And what I'm known as, and the name that my aunties gave me was She That Looks Ahead. Not only that, Genoje Dodem. So my clan, or else, the family to which I belong is the pike people, those beautiful fish that have a very different version and the way that they see the world, right? They experience it by looking up to those beautiful stars and have that relationship from the water to the universe. Not only that, my beautiful friends, Segmuk Nishnabek Donjaba. So we all know is that Donjaba, so where I put my head down. So Sagamok, right? Sagamok, Zgamok, the place of 2 points joining. It's where my community and my people would often go to get some of the best sturgeon. So that was our summer camps, and that's where we were, and we continue to be. So that is my home community. Oh, but we're going to have some fun today, my friends. So when I talk about the land having a lot of languages, right? It's like you're probably thinking, listen, Dr. Pam, what do you mean by this? And I'm going to show you, throughout our time together, how it is that, as Nishnabek, as Mushkegowek, as Oji Cree, that we have, again, this intimate connection with the land. But it has so many languages that, again, are also a part of our being. So that's where we're going to go from there. But you know what? Oh, you're going to do some work. And I'm going to start you off right now. So I'm going to be sharing my whiteboard. And all you need, my friends, you can go old school. You can grab a piece of paper. You can use your phone, your notes option. There's no wrong way to do this, all right? So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to do a whiteboard with you, okay? So what you're going to do is using a full, full piece of paper. And I mean full, my friends, all right, full. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to draw, and I'm going to walk you through it, okay, a feather, okay? And I swear, folks, okay, this is easy, all right? Easy, easy, easy. So all I want you to do is to draw a line, okay? So there's my beautiful line, right? Not hard at all. Now we have wonderful artists here. Angela is going to be making fun of me by the end of this, but here it is. So start with your line. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at that beautiful line and we're going to imagine, we're going to imagine what those beautiful feathers look like on all of those beautiful winged beings, right? That are surrounding us right now, that are excited about summer. So here it is. There's our line. Now we're going to draw this together. So what I would do is that, I've got my lines going on both sides, and I know everybody's really impressed there with my art skills. Yes, I am a classroom teacher. So what I want you to do is I'd like you to draw, again, your beautiful feather, right? And as we get to the top of the feather, we want to see, those beautiful feathers get smaller. Now, as we're going along, you might be like, oh, I want to add some color there, Dr. Pam. So you feel free to do what you would like, all right? So that's our visual organizer for today. That's what we're going to be using to document what we're learning here about the land is our language. So again, take a look. That is our organizer for today, all right? So what I would like you to do, my beautiful friends, once you have that beautiful organizer, right, we're going to be using this in a good way to document our learning. So what I'm going to do is that now you see it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. So if you did it, great. And if not, that's okay too. All righty. So now the land is our language. Now, what's really interesting about that is someone who grew up in Sgamuk, right? Sagmuk. And I feel really, really lucky to have grown up there. And, growing up, in Sagmuk, to be again, immersed in language and immersed in my community, it gives you such a different view of the world. So this is what I really want to talk about. I want to talk about how Kokokoli speaks to us, how understanding the language has this different world view that is so beautiful. And that, my friends, is what this will be about, because it is. The land is our language, culture, and ways of learning. That's what it is. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to walk you through, okay, this presentation. And I swear, my friends, it's all a series of mini lessons. So what I'm going to do, my friends, is that I'm going to play this from the start. So the land is our language, culture, ways of learning. And again, this is really about our connections, right, to land. This is our time memorial way of expressing culture and its distinct languages. So what is this about? Holism and humor and our gifts. So you know what? Continue working on your feathers, fill it out with color, with design, with different lines while I'm doing this, my friends. So the agenda map. Why territorial acknowledgements are still important. So I'm going to go right to it, my friends, okay? So continue drawing your feather. So for me, I am a virtual visitor today to NAN territory, right? So I am. So I'm again, virtual visitor, even though I'm Anishinaabe and from Sgamuk, right? Here I am in my beautiful traditional territories, but I am a virtual visitor. And territorial acknowledgements to me are still important because it's about land. It's about acknowledging that this is the lands, of a very diverse group of beautiful, beautiful Cree, beautiful OG Cree, Nishnabek, Mushkegowik peoples. So I take a look at it in NAN. So what does it mean, right? It's the people and the land. But a territorial acknowledgement is really about what does it compel me to do, okay? So what does it compel me to do? Being a virtual visitor today, my friends, in NAN territory compels me to do, again, maybe an extra act, of gratitude today and kindness, to really think about, my role in this world. So again, being the keynote today gives me this responsibility, right? So a responsibility to think about what it is I need to do better today, what I need to do better to ensure that our mother, the earth, that Ake is doing well. So that's what I will be doing today. Again, is that I will go outside, I'll put down my tobacco, and what I'll do is that I will look out at my gardens, and I will, again, ensure that those also, honor our mother. So here's our visual organizer, my friends. You've drawn it, you're drawing it, all right? So here it is here. I'm going to stop sharing. you know where you're from, right? Everybody does, right? You know the lands from which you're at. So I'm going to show you, okay? I'm going to show you, my beautiful friends, okay, what we're going to do with that visual organizer. So we're going to be doing a little bit of identification, and you can always pass, okay? You can say, listen, I don't want to do this activity, and that's okay. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to, again, go back to that beautiful feather, all right? So there's my feather. You know, you're looking at it. Oh, Pam, you need some lessons there. You know, everything you learned was in kindergarten. So what you're going to do is just along, my friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm going to use a different color. What I want you to do is right along the base of this beautiful, beautiful, again, feather that you've drawn, I want you to write the community that you're from. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Oh, yes, there's Sagamuk representing in the house today. Okay, so right along that beautiful spine, write the community that you're from. Okay, so I'd like you to do that right now. So I've got mine there. I've got Sagamuk. That's where I'm from. So right along that base, which community are you from in your beautiful territories? And that's wide open, okay? Wide open. So you're going to put that right along the spine. All right, my friends, okay? Now, once you have that, okay, I'm going to be moving on. So you've got your beautiful visual organizer. You've got the community you're from, and I'll put Sagamuk, and I'll put FN for First Nation, right? First Nation, of course. So you've got it there right at the base, okay? So next thing, my beautiful friends, is this. So I want you to think about it this way. All right. So, you know, I always think back to my Nokomis, right? Madonna Rose Toulouse, and she's been in the spirit world for a little over 5 years. And I want to talk about the power of language and the power of land, right? So, myself and my community, we have this beautiful spot called Toulouse Bay. And my grandmother and I, you know, we'd often go on little adventures in the community, right? So, you know, I drove down and we would go sit at Toulouse Bay and we would talk and we would visit. And, you know, she would look like, you know, at the rocks and she'd talk about, you know, she goes, can you imagine all of the stories, you know, that these beautiful stone beings have? And we would do our talks and we would walk along and she would look at the beautiful lady slipper and she would say to me, you know, in the language that this is kokokoli. And she said, when you look at that beautiful lady slipper, when you say it in English, oh, there's a lady slipper. But when you look at it and in the language say kokokoli, that what you are actually saying is that it is actually the shoe of the owl, right? It's the owl's moccasin. So when we talk about land and language and culture, it's like those plant beings and those stone beings, right? When we can again, like, relate to them in our original languages, they carry this beautiful worldview that cannot be replicated in English, right? So kokokoli, and that is, the owl's slipper, or else that owl's moccasin. So the land, it's got many languages, right? The elements, the plant beings, those that fly, those that crawl, those that swim, those that are seen and unseen. They have been here since time immemorial, and so have our people. So we are connected to the land at a DNA level. When we are back in our traditional territories and we're out, there's this familiarity, this connection, that often we're like, where is this coming from? And it's because we are, again, the culmination of all of our ancestors that have already been there. So again, the language and the land and the culture are together. The greatest gift that we can give our children, right, is learning our languages. And each community has their own dialect and nuances to describe the land. So, really think about it. So I'm going to show you again, my beautiful friends, and I really want to go again to my wonderful presentation, because I want you to think about, my beautiful friends, okay, your own territory. So I'm going to go right to my presentation, and here it is, right? Here it is. And I'm going to show you what I see. And what I see is this beautiful, again, beautiful territory and all of Anishinaabe Aski Nation. So I take a look, right? And I take a look and I'm like, my goodness. So, if I'm up like, in Sandy Lake or else in Deer Lake, and if I look around that land, that there's so much that those plant beings there, and all of those with four legs, what they can teach us. And even, those mosquitoes and black flies, which are going to populate us right now, they all have something to teach us and they have their own languages. So the greatest gift that we can give our children is to be able to again share those languages, get out on the land. Our ways of learning and teaching are based in land, my friends. And there is a world view there that is so, again, critical. So the land is our living culture, okay? It really is. So again, when I think about it, and I'll give you an example again with our grandmothers and again, aunties. So again, the land is our living culture. So again, what we know about the world, right? That language, culture, and land are together. We find that a lot of our people, right? We can't think of land as separate again from language. And that's really important because they are interconnected. That when we lose our languages, right? We actually lose, a part of how we understand, our world around us. We lose certain aspects of our culture. And so that's why it's so important to learn those languages and make them again a primary, again, like, a primary interconnected subject in our schools. So when we speak our language, that tells us where we come from, what our culture is, and again, how we go about our life in terms of the seasons and our traditional paths. So it really is, again, about, knowing ourselves full circle. So we're going to go, my friends, to that your beautiful feather. And I'm going to show you the next activity that we're going to be doing there. So take a look at your feathers, my beautiful friends. Now, what we're going to do at this beautiful feather, you can use another color. It's up to you. There is no wrong way to do this. But what I would like you to do, my beautiful friends, so we see like, these beautiful feathers, that's coming out. So what I would like you to do is you can write or you can draw. There's no wrong way to do it, okay? No wrong way to do it. But what you can do is you're going to write or draw what it is that you love about your traditional territory. Is there a particular space or place that you're like, what? This is where, like, I love being. So you can put down, even a basic word. You can put, well, I like to be at the lake. I like to be out at my, and I will just put it right here, out at my goose hunting camp. Or else you might put down like, I also, just love to be in my backyard. There's no wrong way to do this. But I want you to put, again, 1 to 3 things, okay? You can draw it or write it, write on, these beautiful parts of the plume, of what it is that you love about your traditional territories. So is it a particular animal, a particular place? Is it a particular activity even? Maybe you're going to be like, what? I love it because I get to canoe, I get to fish. Maybe you get to pick your sweetgrass there. There is no wrong way to do it, my friends. So again, 1 to 3, write on these beautiful plumes, okay? Write on those beautiful plumes. So I'm going to stop sharing there and continue, my beautiful friends, working on that. And again, if my Wi-Fi blips out, you know what? I will be right back. Often this happens in my area because we got all kinds of, things going on right now here in my territory. And what we do is that, if I do blip out, don't worry, I'll be back. Don't be scared. I'll be here. All right. So now as you're working on that, so when I think about, again, growing up in Skamuk, right? When I think about growing up, and I think a lot of you can relate to this. So what I want you to do is in the chat, right? In the chat, what I want you to do is go to the chat and I want you, again, to put in, you can either put yes or no, or put the name, of a nokmis, of a grandmother, or else an auntie, or else an uncle, or else of a mashomis, of a grandpa, or else like, of somebody that, that had a really big impact in your life. So go and put that in the chat, my friends, okay? And I'm going to tell you a story while you do that, because this is all about the impact of language. So, growing up in Sagamok, me and my cousins, right? So me and my cousins, we could be quite mischievous, and you all know what that's like, right? And often when we were like, mischievous, when things were said in the language, right? You were like right away. You were like, at attention. Oh my goodness, we know it. We know that we're in trouble now, or else we know that we're being praised now. So again, so don't be afraid to put the names of, of a significant, like, elder, or else a Métis senator, or an auntie or uncle, or, that, influenced you in your life, So again, put that in the chat. So anytime, and I swear, so again, if my grandparents, or my parents said to me, oh, there, you better settle down, settle down, Pamela, yeah, that means something, right? Being a mischievous, mischievous two-legged. But when my granny or my grandpa, Mishomis, would say, if they would say, Ani Shane Yen, Mud bin Dick Kit, or Alzanya, I knew right away that that meant something. So in the language, when it was said like that, I knew, okay, listen there, mischievous two-leggeds, me and my cousin, we better pay attention here. So saying it in the language meant so much more than settle down, you better sit down here, right? Because, that brought a presence to it. And it brought, listen, this is what you need to do. Not only that, my friends, when it comes to the land and the language. So, I speak, a lot of gibberish, and many of us may do that. But one of the things is that whenever I talk about, the old man, I always say KZ, oh, I don't know how that KZ is doing these days. So one day, my dad, Nelson, corrected me. And, so my dad, Nelson Toulouse, and Nelson said, you know what? It's not KZ. You speak this shortened form, but I'm going to give you the real meaning of KZ. So, and my dad, I call him an old man too, and it's done in a fun and loving way. So, Nelson, like, said, listen, it's actually a KZ. So not KZ, but a KZ. And he said, so when you talk to somebody, like myself, and if you're saying KZ, it's actually a KZ. And what that actually means is that the meaning of it is that, that this being comes from the earth, right? So quite a different. So when I say KZ, I'm saying, the old man, that's how I understand it. But then Nelson says, no. You've got the gibberish version. And it's really a KZ, the being that comes from the earth. So that really put myself in my place, because I was like, wow, there's this meaning and this, beauty in our language, and it's always connected to land, right? Always connected. So my friends, we are going to do an exercise in land. It's not hard. You're going to try it. All right. So what I want you to do is I'd like you to take your hands, my friends. Take your hands. So put your writing materials down. Okay, we're going to try this together. Okay, so we're going to do an exercise that has to do with the land. What I want you to do is to take your hands, take your arms, and I'd like you to make a circle. And I'm going to back it up here. Okay, make a circle. Okay, so here we go. Here's our beautiful circle. What I want you to do, my friends, I'd like you to take that beautiful circle. It can be like this or like this. It's up to you, okay? I want you to take that beautiful circle and push it up to the sky. Oh, ishpaming, ishpaming. We're going to move it up. Now, what I want you to do is take that beautiful circle, move it to the side, move it to the side. Take that beautiful circle, move it to the other side, my friends. Take that circle. Let's move that circle down to the ground. Bring that circle back up. I want you to take that beautiful circle and bring it to the screen. Bring it to the screen. Now, so why do we do that activity, right? So the circle. The one thing, when it comes to, again, our lands and our cultures and our languages and the way that we see the world, it really is based in holism, right? It is based, in the beautiful way that we see the world, that everything is interconnected and everything is sacred. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of this. So get ready. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm also going to have you do another activity. Okay, another activity. So here we go. So we've got our beautiful, beautiful, again, my friends, we've got our beautiful, again, feathers. We have in the center, of course, the community that we're from, on like these beautiful plumes. We've got what we love about our traditional territories, all right? Or else the territories that we're currently living in. So it could be an activity, it could be, a particular, being, whatever it is, or else a particular place. So no wrong way to do it. So what we're going to do, my friends, is on the other side, okay, on the other side of the plume. So I'm going to pick the color blue, okay? Doesn't matter what color you pick, okay? No wrong way to do it. You can write or draw, okay? Write or draw always, my friends. So it's up to you, or you don't have to participate at all, okay? It's up to you. So I want you to go to the plume, okay, on the other side, my beautiful friends, and you're going to write or draw these things. You're going to write or draw the feelings, right, that your land evoke for you. So I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to use symbols this time. So what do the feelings evoke? So for me, there's my heart. It evokes for me the feelings of love, right? Not only that, I'm going to use a little check mark here, that what my lands here in my territory evoke for me. I use the check mark, but the check mark for me represents that feeling of being in the right place, okay? The right place. Not only that, being in my traditional territories, and I'm going to use a little circle here, right? Makes me feel like I am whole, right? It makes me feel like, you know what, here I am back, where I belong. So it makes me feel love. I've got my heart, my check mark, which is I'm in the right place. And the circle for me, which is when I'm in my traditional territories, I feel whole. The other symbol I'm going to put here, my friends, is a big smile. It makes me feel happy, okay? So again, when I go back, it makes me feel happy. So again, what we're doing is that on the other side of the plume, you're just recording the feelings, right, that you associate with your traditional territories or the territories you're currently living in, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing. And as you're doing that, my beautiful friends, I'm really going to talk about, again, the whole thing about, the holism, right? So the importance of that, the importance of holism. So the importance of holism in humor. And not only that, the word humor itself, right? So the word humor and laughter in the English language, it's like, oh my goodness, we need to take that to a new level, right? A new level. And I'm going to give you again, the example in our language. So here in my territory, Anishinaabe. So laughter, chaba be, right? Chaba be. And I think about that word, chaba be. And it brings me right back, right back to Sgamuk and Wakwemkong, where my mom was from. And chaba be, even the word itself makes you want to smile and laugh, right? It makes you want to laugh to hear chaba be. But our languages are so connected with land, right? So connected with land and culture. When we hear chaba be, that little sound, right? It really is min, right? It is coming from the heart, right? Chaba be. So it's min, coming from the heart. So when we share chaba be, that laughter together, we're really sharing in each other's hearts. So that's why the language is so important. But when I think about chabape, what do I associate chabape with? I associate chabape with growing up in Sgamuk. And not only that, playing in the bush with, with my cousins. Chabape brings me back to the sugar bush, at my family farm in Sgamuk. Where it is that we, children would collect those sap buckets and we would laugh together. So chabape is those memories that is rooted in the land, right? Chabape reminds me of all these times, even current, when I go to Wakwemkong and I'm with my family there and we're together. Chabape, right? So again, we're sharing in the heart, and it's all rooted in our land, right? And where it is that we perform these activities together in a good way. So that is why the language is so important and rooted in land. So, my beautiful friends, so you've got the feelings, right? You got your feelings either written or drawn on your feather. All right, my beautiful friends. Now, that is important to be able to do. Okay, important to be able to do. And if you don't, that's okay too. Because a lot of our feelings in the language, right? So when we talk about, zog the win, right? So zog the win for me, that's a verb. It's a complete verb. So it requires action. When we think about in the English language the word love, it's a noun, right? But in our languages, everything has to have an action. And what it means is that it becomes this beautiful verb. So it's like, well, what does zog the win actually mean, right? So it means, what is it that I do to show, love and to show kindness? And that is why there is such power in our languages, such power in those words. At the beginning, I said, Wasa Ekawabat Nadijnakas, my name, right? My name is she that looks ahead. Wasa Ekawabatkwe. So what it did, right? So what it did is that, my beautiful friends, it gave me this beautiful opportunity to know my direction and path in life. So the greatest gift that we can give our kids is to be able, again, my friends, to be able to share those languages and to provide this beautiful worldview. But where is it that our education, ideally takes place? And it's outdoors, right? Being able to feel that earth, to being able to experience, all of those wonderful things. So, my beautiful friends, I'm going to take you again to another activity, all right? Take you to another beautiful activity. So, I want you to go back to your wonderful, wonderful feather. And I might blip out here soon. Don't be scared. I will be back. So, here we go, right? Here we go. And maybe we have a little bit of room, maybe we don't. But I'm going to pick a new color. And I think maybe this time I'll go with, pink for today. So what I want you to do is, again, I'll recap. At the center is your community. On the plumes here at the side, what was, again, like words to describe the places in your traditional territories that you love. The other side was symbols that, would represent your feelings about your traditional territories. Now, we're going to go over here. We're going to go over here. So you can pick a side if you'd like to, okay? Okay, so you can pick a side, doesn't matter which one. But now, what you're going to do, my beautiful friends, is this. You can either put names or keywords, okay? Keywords of, again, beings, either two-legged, four-legged, three-legged, I don't know, that really make your traditional territories home. So you could put the word family, okay, maybe. Maybe you want to put the word friend. So we're going to write it right on the plume, right? Friends, right? So these are the two-leggeds, right? So there's our nichke, right? Or maybe it's your nimosh, right? Maybe it's your nimosh, right? So again, your beautiful nimosh. And I'll draw my little nimosh here, right? There we go. Oh yes, professional artist here. There's my nimosh, right? So what is it? Not only that, maybe there's another being, that makes your home home. Maybe it's a gigon, maybe it's a gigon. So again, that's what you're doing right now. So what beings, right? What beings do that? Or, and I'm going to use a circle, or is it our creator? Is it, our ancestors and spirits? So that's what you're going to do on those plumes, my friends. Okay. So again, what beings, make your home, your lands. All right. So now, my good friends, so that's what you're doing now, right? So you've got what beings at the end of those plumes make your home, your lands, right? So is it creator? Is it gigon? Is it megaze? I don't know. My favorite is on deck, right? So on deck, because there's a whole story that goes with on deck and here in our territories and lands. That beautiful being that really does represent all the colors of the earth. So what is it? So we're going to write it there. Now, I'm going to, continue with my presentation, my beautiful friends, okay, my beautiful peepsters, and I'm going to go and grab it right here. So again, the holism, okay, so holism. Now, the importance of holism, when we're in our communities. So when we are teaching and learning, we need to be out on those lands. But also, it's important to adapt a holistic perspective when we are, again, teaching and learning. So what does that look like? So I'm actually going to start, with the physical. So if we are looking at it from a holistic lens, right, we need to consider the physical. So when we're teaching our kids, our young people, working together and learning, we want to make sure that we have activities that are hands-on, that they're visual, right? So this is the same as in K to 12 education, so taking again school outside, and even teaching when you're teaching online, ensuring that you have these activities that are engaging. So visual and hands-on, interactive and collaborative, my friends. Now, I'm going to go to the emotional. You need to have, that humor. We always know, whenever like Indigenous peoples are getting together, I can always tell, no matter where, if there's Mushkegowuk people or Nishnawbek or Haudenosaunee, by the laughter, So we need to ensure that we have that, we have respectful humor. Well, also storytelling and group talk is so important as part of learning, and that we have time for reflection on our own, reflection with writing, reflection with drawing. The intellectual, it's important to have those mini lessons, right? So mini lessons. And that we also have, again, routines that, have us feel safe, and again, using that language. The spiritual, my friends, this is ensuring that when we're teaching and learning, that we also ensure that we use our own teachings in a good way, in our language and our connections to land, and that they're meaningful and resourceful. So, if you're in Sashego Lake, that you're using the nuances of your language there, the teachings of that area. So that is so key, my friends. Not only that, the importance, right, of honoring our own gifts. So what do? We start with our own gifts always. We teach our kids, right? What are your beautiful gifts? So Mushkegowuk, Nishnawbek, Haudenosaunee, Métis, Inuit. What we do is, what is our personal gifts? And then what we do is, we talk about the local gifts. So what type of traditions and ceremonies, do we have that are, local? So that's, an important part of teaching and learning, and the gift we give to our children. What are the regional ones, the provincial ones, national and global? Not only that, we need to also think about, as we're teaching, about the land, we need to think about the impacts of the technological world here, my friends, and our traditional values and how they're competing, right? So our technological world focuses so much on the individual. We need to think about how this affects our children and youth, as they're going through social media and watching TV. And our traditional values are all about community. So our kids are right here sitting in the middle of this, trying to figure out, how is it that I reconcile these? The technological world is all about competition, but our traditional worlds are about cooperation, right? Not only that, technological world is all about rights. I got the right to this, I got the right to that. They got rights. And our traditional worlds are really focused on our responsibilities to family, our responsibilities to Mother Earth, right? So let's think about those responsibilities in terms of language, right? So if our responsibility is embedded in the teachings of Zogdoin, right? So, in the teachings of love, right? So if that's what it is, we'll talk about those teachings, from that language perspective. And that's why we need to have our elders and our knowledge keepers, have them like, in the forefront, because these beautiful teachers, they embody those teachings, my friends. So not only that, my beautiful friends, I want you to look at that beautiful visual organizer, all right? That beautiful visual organizer. And I want you to take a look at some of the things that you've done to describe, okay? To describe not only the community, so remember right through was the community, but not only that, you had words to describe on the plume part, like the little parts there, to describe, those places or what makes your community, the place you want to be, that's like your lands. Then you had like, words to describe how it makes you feel. Then you had like the names of beings, that you connect to your traditional territories. Now, the other thing, my friends, is this: when it comes to land, right? And our seasons. Right now, here it is. We are, entering the end of flower moon here in my territory, in the Swakmuk, here in the Sudbury territory, in the Swakmuk. But this, what does this tell me about what I should be doing, right? I'm at the end of this. And so that flower moon being at the end of it tells me I need to take care of those gardens, right? That I have this, this unique opportunity to appreciate all the beautiful colors and all the diversity, that our mother, has provided for us in this territory. So my beautiful friends, all right, now, what I want you to do is at the tip, and I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? At the tip of your beautiful feather, okay? So at the tip, my friends, pick any color. There's no wrong way to do this. And I think that what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pick this beautiful brown. And what I want you to do is right at the tip of this beautiful, beautiful feather, I want you again to pick just one symbol, okay? So one symbol that represents, okay? That represents how it is that you're feeling today, okay? So how you're feeling today. So you might want to like, put like, hands. This is my best version of hands, folks, okay? So maybe it's hands. So right at the tip of that feather. So you can use a word or else a symbol. How are you feeling today? So these are my hands. Maybe you're going to put a heart. Maybe you're going to put the word, oh, geez, I'm so tired today. Okay, maybe you're going to put that. I don't know. But at the end, you're going to put your symbol or word for how you feel today. Okay, so again, we've got our beautiful, again, visual organizers there. All right, beautiful, beautiful. Now, so as you're doing that, right? So as you're doing that, I want to share like why it's important to be able to share our gifts. So I'm going to give you an example of the types of gifts, right? So we all have gifts. Some of us, have the gift of patience. Some of us have the gifts of humor. Some of us have our gifts that are embedded in our roles. Maybe, you're an elder or else, a knowledge keeper, or maybe you're a sister. Maybe, you're this two-legged that walks in a good way. I don't know, but we all have gifts. But the other gifts, my friends, that I want to share is the beautiful ones that we also need to always highlight. And this, again, is so important to be able to do. So I'm going to share this one. And it's from my book, Truth and Reconciliation in Canadian Schools. And, we think about Turtle Island, and these are all the gifts that our people, over 500 nations, gave to the world. So you can see it on your own screens, my friends, So we think about our Inuit, our Dene, again, relations to the north, all these gifts they gave together, kayaks and shovels and snowshoes and trousers. You go through, here's all the gifts that we've given to the world, and then if I take a look, right, we go down and even right down to our subarctic, and that's our people, Nishnabek, Mushkegowuk, NAN territory people. This is what we gave to the world as well. Home insulation, cranberries, cradle boards, insect bite remedies. And again, all of those things coming from our ability to live with the land, right? So that's what it is. But not only that, my friends, I want to be able to share, some of the key gifts that our people have given. So let's take a look. Nishnabek and Mushkegowuk. Here are some of the gifts that we've given to the world, and we also need to make sure that we continue to talk about. Nishnabek, we gave maple syrup to the world, megaphones, moccasins, soft drink ingredients, the company Pepsi Cola. took our ideas, Nishnabek, and created the drink Dr. Pepper. Right. So they used our ingredients and created Dr. Pepper. Not only that, Mashkigawik, all of these beautiful gifts you gave here to the world. And one of, your traditions of the walking out ceremonies for children. And that's all about being connected to that land and our children being welcomed from the moment they can make those first steps, right? So Mashkigawik, these beautiful gifts. And of course, our Haudenosaunee to the south, these beautiful gifts they've also given. So, my friends, it is so critical that we also do that because, again, the land, the language, and our culture and the ways we learn are embedded in our land, again, experiences. And if you're ever looking, my friends, okay, and I'm just going to hyperlink here. If you're ever looking for a resource, to be able to to use in your classrooms or else, with your beautiful, again, children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, this resource, which is hyperlinked right in my presentation, is free and it is one of the best resources, that shows all of the gifts our people have given to the world. So I'm just going to give you an example, right? So I'll give you an example. I'm just going to flow through really quickly. And what it is, they have the gifts we've given to the world by, again, the alphabet. So the abacus and all kinds of things. But if you go right to the back, right? If you go right to the back, you can also get all of the beautiful gifts, my friends, according to our areas of where we live, right? So, by group, by linguistic group. So you take a look, Nishnabek people, Mashkigwek, we gave like all of these gifts to the world, moccasins, mouthwash, how to birth babies in a good way, place names, and all of this comes from the earth, okay? All of it. So right in my presentation, you can go and grab that, right? Not only that, there's my bio there, and always again happy. I come from Zgamuk. That is my home community that I love, that is my traditional place, and it is where I call home, right? That I call home. So again, there's the gifts, that our people gave, right? And again, in my book, I give examples from K to 12, how it is, that you can take beautiful stories from our people. So again, from our people, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, and again, embed it in the curriculum from K to 12. So I give examples, right? And here's examples of how you would do it in science, how you would take our beautiful gifts and embed it in the curriculum. So my beautiful friends, okay? My beautiful friends. Now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull up very quickly, okay? Very quickly. Your, again, gorgeous, again, visual organizer. So there it is there. Our community is right through the middle, right? Right over here, we have the elements, right? The places that make our traditional lands home. So what do we love about it? Is there beings there? What is it? The other side was feelings from our communities. How does it make us feel? Happy, sad, what is it? Hopeful. Then again, towards the top, we had the names of people or else symbols that make our traditional lands, that make it home. And then at the top, we have either a word or else a symbol that shows us, right? Shows us how we're feeling today. And I've got, hands clapping because I'm a virtual visitor to NAN today, my friends, a virtual visitor. And I clap my hands because I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And what it does is that it really, really, really does, help and remind me that being a virtual visitor to NAN right now compels me again to go work out on the land today and to do that act, as my, recognition of NAN territory, as a Nishnabek from Zgamuk, here from Niswakamuk territory, as again, that honoring of my time here in NAN territory virtually. So I want you to take those beautiful, my beautiful friends, okay? I want you to take those beautiful visual organizers. I want you to examine them. I want you to, again, to identify one or two things that really stand out to you. And I'm going to end this before I take questions with a story, okay? And again, this story always had to do again, with my home community, always of Zgamuk, and also my Nokmis, right? So my Nokmis Madonna, and also what I've learned from my elders. So, growing up, right, I always like, had this dream of being a teacher. And I've been a teacher for 28 years. And, my Nokmis would always talk like, my Nokmis and the elders I've known, like Merlisance Beatty Ba, who's in the spirit world, would talk about the importance of language and land and making sure that, when I taught that I made those connections. And, Merlisance Beatty, again, always talked about, about the importance of talking about and translating what certain words meant. And she said, one time, she said that, if people really, thought about the word Canada, right? So Canada, so it's like, Canada, and you'll see the heritage clip, right? Of, our Wendat relations, Kanata, which really means the village in their language, right? And it was their village, that's what it is. So Canada means Wendat, their village. But Merlisance Beatty said to me, Nishnawbe, Mashkiwik, Haudenosaunee, our languages are so beautiful. Metis languages, the Michif, that, Canada for us really, it's Kinade, right? So Kinade. So Kina refers to Kinagego, everything that you see around you. De refers to the heart. Where does the heart come from? It comes from creation. She said, if we could teach kids in schools that Canada, here for us really means Kinade, that everything you see around you, comes from the heart, and the heart comes from the creation. She said, how different, would their view be of the world and of lands, rather than having just Canada be something so removed, and rather to be just an identity, I'm Canadian, but to think that I am a part of Kinade, being a part of everything that I see around me, has that heart that comes from creation. So, my grandmother always talked about that, the importance, she says, think about what our language teaches us, and think about, how the English language, really doesn't add the level of description and meaning that really, our kids need. So, teaching, throughout my years, 28 years, I've always used our language for transitions, for things like, for teaching moments. And that really is the spiritual part of who we are, to be able to talk about where we're from, to locate ourselves and to self-identify. Now, with that, take your hands, go like this. Oh, you NAN people, you can do it. I know you can. If your Nokma said to weep done, put your hands up there, you would. So we'll go like this. And then what we do is in our languages, we say, miigwech. Try it. Miigwech. Hands up. Miigwech. To the sides. Miigwech. Down below. Miigwech. Again. Ishpaming. Miigwech. So, as a virtual visitor to NAN, I say miigwech to you beautiful people today. I want to thank you for allowing me to share space with you. And not only that, for giving me the opportunity to talk about, the land, language, and culture. And, that it is our ways of learning are embedded in our DNA. And, it's right outside this door. So miigwech, and I will take some questions. Now look at your beautiful visual organizer. Oh, yeah, artists, yo, that's right in us too. Miigwech dana.
Here you go, Dr. Pam. This is the drawing that I made when I was listening to you.
Beautiful, miigwech, Angela, for sharing. Look at it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, get your name. Makes me very happy.
Can't really see the name. I'm from Shishigwaning First Nation, so near Wiki, but
yeah,
west. So we had a couple questions. One says, I am really drawn to the right versus responsibility dynamic. Yeah. I'm a counselor at a First Nation high school, and the students are often sharing with me stress that they carry because of responsibilities they feel towards their family. And sometimes that responsibility goes against their responsibility to themselves, like self-care, their individual rights. Yeah. So how can counselors help students balance those two?
Yeah, so you know what, you asked like a really primary question, and I'm really glad that you posed this. So again, like, if we take a look at the responsibilities, right? So the responsibilities that our young people carry today, those responsibilities right now are quite different, right? So they're quite different than the responsibilities that we traditionally would have possessed, right? So what I mean by that is that we have a lot of our young people that are responsible for younger siblings. They feel this responsibility, to educate maybe non-Indigenous students. They feel like they have, the weight of the world on their shoulders. So what I say is, conducting activities where you identify, like sit down and say, okay, what responsibilities do you have? And what I would do is like start like, categorizing those responsibilities as, okay, here are the responsibilities that are really the result of of being colonized, because our people have been colonized, and we are like in this beautiful process of of healing and of recovery. So we need to look at that, because responsibilities we have today really are coming out of a lot of the symptoms of colonialism. So I would actually do an activity. What responsibilities do you have? And then I would look at things and like talk about what responsibilities are traditional responsibilities. So again, a traditional responsibility is again to know our gifts, right? To know what gifts we carry. That's a responsibility. Again, a responsibility for being a caretaker of children. Well, that is a traditional responsibility, but because our cultures have changed, our responsibility is also to our academics. So what we do is you have a good conversation about that, and not only that, self-care is also a responsibility. Self-care is actually such an act of resilience and of resistance. So talking to our students about self-care, I mean, that is a responsibility. If we are not well, then it's going to be pretty hard. When we think about things holistically, then that balances right off. So talking about responsibilities, listing them, having students share, well, my goodness, you have the same responsibilities I do. Because once you can actually communicate, you don't feel like you are alone, right? You don't feel alone. And, and be able to come to solutions together. Young people are brilliant. They are creative, and they have the solutions that are embedded in them from the ancestors from thousands and thousands of years before. So that activity of identifying responsibilities is key, but also we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves, and helping students to develop self-care plans or else develop support networks is critical, right? So find a way to connect with a peer, or else, your counselor or an elder or a knowledge keeper, or else have a helpline available. So, that's really important to be able to do that. Yeah, be able to do that. So thank you for asking that. That's an amazing question. And yes, you can definitely share this lesson. Anything that I have out there, my friends, right? So Nichke is out there. And again, Nichke, right? So it's a relationship here between our hearts, Nichke. Anything that I have here today, you can use that, right? It's in the public domain. And it's important, right, that we share together collectively. So any more questions at all there, beautiful NAN peeps?
Another question. How is land, language, and culture connected to health and wellness?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Here's the thing, right? What's really interesting is that if you take a look like at even like some evidence, right? So if we like go and gather like health data, that we will actually you will find that our people, that when they are connected back to land, right, and that when we are together in our family groups and we have those sacred connections, that actually things like our incidences, like our incidences of diabetes and things like that, that those things become reduced. Not only that, our mental health, right? So, which is a primary, this has been one of the most primary issues amongst the pandemic, our mental health, right? So our ability to be out on the land and to be able to be embedded in this worldview through language and culture, that there is actually data to show that land-based activities and learning enhance our sense of wellness, right? And I mean, you know, in totally physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. So there's data to support that. That's why I always say, especially in K to 12 education, you know, it's important to have land-based learning, and there's so many ways to do it, right? So that's why, so the data is there, right? The data is there. And, you know, a lot of our young people, they are searching, they're searching. And the thing is that once, you know, we have those connections, you know, to the earth, to our lakes, to those beings that crawl, swim, fly, seen, unseen, that there is a level of wellness and health that really does start to increase. You know, colonialism was all about removing us from our lands. The moment we were removed from our lands, colonialism did its work, right? And it helped us again, like, you know, to become unwell, because our separation from land is what did that, right? Our reconnection is what's really, you know, helping us, you know, to become again well holistically. Miigwech. So I gotta wrap this up, my friends. Oh, my NAN peeps, you've been good to me, all right? So I would like to say miigwech, again, miigwech, that relationship and heart to heart. And I would like to say ba mom pi, my wonderful, wonderful friends. See you later, right? We don't have no words for goodbye. I'll see you in the next world, all right? So ba mom pi, miigwech dana. And again, so Angela, I think we have a couple announcements.
Yeah, Miigwech, Dr. Pam, that was a really great session, and I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge today. So for those watching, don't forget about the play to win code for this session. Write it down and enter it during our break. You're not going to want to miss Greg the Goose and Bay during lunch, and tune in while grabbing a bite to eat. So we will see you there.